It is Catching the Curb right here, brought to you by our friends at the Curbstone Coaches, DJ Yoakley with you, and joined as always by the living legend himself, the guy who makes the world spin for the Curbstone Coaches, Bobby Camardo. Bobby, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing fine. I'm going to have to hire you as my PR guy because nobody else talks about me like that. I can tell you that.
I doubt that.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. I mean, this is a monthly sit down, and I love talking to you. I love catching up. But I'll tell you what, when you think about what speakers come in, the guy that you had a couple weeks ago, not that great at all. I can tell you that first and foremost. He stunk. Never have him back.
Yoakley? Is that his name?
I think.
Yoakley? Yeah.
They
said he runs some kind of company around here, but I don't know much about him.
No, that's a skin and bones operation. That's no good. I mean, honestly, what an honor it was to speak and to a bunch of guys, living legends in that room, and I mean that with all sincerity. You look around that room and it's a who's who, and I'm trying to tell them about technology, which they're all scratching their heads. But it was an intimidating experience for me. I'm not gonna lie, because there's a lot of guys in that room that have done so much for this area through sports. For the kids, for adults. But I'll tell you what, you guys continue to have these great speakers come in. We're going to talk about more that you're having come in over the next month or so. But for you to sit there, I mean, you got to intro everybody. You talk about intros. I mean, you gave that intro. That was a killer, man. I felt like I was the leader of the free world.
Yeah, and in all honesty, you did very well. You
Thank
did.
you.
Everyone enjoyed having you there. For example, yesterday we had John Mang,
Yep.
the living legend, umpire, a referee, a signer, and all that. And John had the idea of bringing in 4 female athletic directors
Okay.
to give a little talk. And at first I was a little skeptical. I was like, that's 5 people talking. That might be, I got to be home for dinner.
Johnny just didn't want to talk. Is what it boils
Probably.
down to.
But
Who do you have?
he had Andrea Farinack from Howland.
Yep.
Abby Fishtorn from Jackson Milton.
Great.
Nancy Knight from Struthers, who's a bundle of energy.
The best.
And Aaron Heasley from Columbiana. And, it's funny. There's days I can't remember my own name, but I coached softball in Liberty way back in the day, and we played Columbiana, and they had a shortstop named Aaron Heasley, whose nickname was Peanut. So I pulled her aside and I go, "Hey, was your nickname used to be Peanut?" She goes, "Oh my God, I haven't heard that in years." and that I remembered. Like I said, I can't remember my own name half the time, but no, they were all really, really good. They all had really good personalities.
Those are the 4 horsewomen of athletic directing in this area.
Yes.
I mean, you think about it, that is the creme de la creme of who's who when it comes, and you hate to break it down, but when you look at the revolution that has been women in sports, they're leading the way.
They are, and they all pretty much said that they have to have 85 different hats on. They're driving school buses and figuring everything out. That it's tough, and they seem to be doing a really good job. I know John Mang thought very highly of them. That's why he had them come.
They're all incredible.
And it was something a little different for us, but it really, really worked out well. And boy, Mang brought a lot of people to see him. We had probably 20 new faces there. Dave Pavlansky was there. John Butera, who's also getting in the Hall of Fame this year, or in 25. So we had a good crowd. So I said to the people, I said, "Hey, if I bring Mang back, you guys, keep coming back." And they got a chuckle out of that. But no, John talked a little bit too. He was very good. John is, like I said, he's a legend, in the area, and very well thought of.
All right, so let's talk about essentially who's on the forefront, who's coming up. We got some holidays. Obviously, we're cutting between, but who's coming up before the new year?
Well, next Monday, which is the 9th, we have every week, no matter who the speaker is, the subject of NIL comes up. In fact, Steve and I were just talking about it out in the hallway, and we figured we'd get the guy. His name is Ty Petrie. Petrie, I'm not sure how to pronounce the exact last name, but he's in charge of the Penguin Collective NIL.
Okay.
So he's going to come and talk to us about the NIL situation at YSU, which I think should be very, very interesting. On the 16th, we've got Dr. Ray Duffett, former YSU team doctor, surgeon in the area who's going to talk about what goes on in that little blue tent when these guys go off the field in the football games and all that. So he's going to talk to us on the 16th, and we're off on the 23rd and 30th for the holidays.
Sure.
On January 6th, we have our high school champions from the fall, and we were hoping to get some football teams and some other things, and the only one we've got now is Warren JFK Boys Golf.
Yep.
In fact, I just texted while Tom Miller was on, my buddy from JFK, Big Al Gregus, to find out exactly who who's going to be able to come and all that. So that'll be Monday, January 6th. We'll honor Warren JFK Boys Golf State Champions. On Monday, the 13th of January, Jim Rosenhaus, Cleveland Guardians broadcaster, who is on the Mount Rushmore of nice guys that I've ever met in my life. He talks to me like he's known me all his life.
Really?
He's just the greatest guy. So he'll be there on the 13th. On the 20th, we've got Brian Campbell, the YSU softball coach. On Monday, January 27th, we'll have the new YSU baseball coach, Trevor Sharpie. And then the DJ Yoakley Memorial Luncheon that we'll have on Monday, February 3rd, will be Greg Brown, the Pittsburgh Pirates broadcaster. So I hope you'll make that one.
I'll be there.
And then I just signed up on Monday, the 17th of January, former YSU women's basketball player and another well-thought-of official in the area, Anne-Marie Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Is going to be coming. And Anne's a really, really nice person, so we're going to have her on the 17th of I'm sorry, 17th of February.
Okay.
My bad. So 17th of February.
That's incredible. I mean, that lineup is, murderer's row when it comes to people that you want to see that maybe you don't always have the opportunity to. How do you book these people? Is it just you ask, or is they ask you? How does it work?
My wife will tell you that I'm as big a BSer in the world that there is.
No.
So it's just over the course of the years, I've gotten to know a lot of people, and I've said this before. Ron Strollo has been absolutely fabulous with us. He says, "Hey, I want you to have the new baseball coach." He gives me his contact info. I got a hold of him. You just get to know people over the years, and the Curbstone coach's reputation is very good, and people do want to come and talk to us, and it's just a lot of them are repeat people that come back, But no, we've had a really good lineup up to this point in the 24-25 calendar year.
Tommy Miller just sat in your seat and was telling us about the new recruits, the official, the final 12 that will be inducted in May. From that list, is there anybody that kind of floats your boat that you look at and you go, wow, this is incredibly deserved more than anybody else?
My nephew played football at Canfield about 10 years ago for Pav.
Yeah.
And to this day, my nephew says he's one of the greatest people he's ever come in contact with. So I'm glad that Pav got in. I've known Rob Schmidt for a number of years, and he does a great job broadcasting the YSU basketball games. So he's obviously well-deserving. Your own Steve Leslie here. I've known Steve for a long time. Steve used to work with my brother-in-law at the engineers department, and I've known Steve for a long time, and I'm glad that he was able to get in as well. So those are just a few of the the great names that are getting in. It's
incredible to see some of the media being represented. We see it year after year, but when you think Youngstown, you think that media, you think Vindicator, you think the CBS affiliate, the ABC affiliate. We have a little bit of it all here.
We do.
But to see them, especially with streaming with Steve and all that he's contributed across the baseball and media, especially lately, do you think you're going to see an uptick in that as we move forward?
I think so, because not only is media at the forefront, but social media is obviously a big thing today, and a lot of people getting involved in that, and I would foresee that in the future, definitely.
Bob Camardo, we thank you as always for sitting down. Love talking with you, and naturally can't wait till next month. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas,
Merry
however you want to
Christmas,
cut
and
it
Happy
up.
New Year to everybody, and we'll be back
2025.
2025. I didn't think I'd live that long, but there we go.
Here he is, Bob Camardo, back after that. Welcome back, everybody. It is Catching the Curb right here, brought to you by our friends at the Curbstone Coaches, DJ Yoakley with you, and joined as always by the living legend himself, the guy who makes the world spin for the Curbstone Coaches, Bobby Camardo. Bobby, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing fine. I'm going to have to hire you as my PR guy, because nobody else talks about me like that. I can tell you that.
I doubt that.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. This is a monthly sit-down, and I love talking to you. I love catching up, but I'll tell you what, when you think about what speakers come in, the guy that you had a couple weeks ago, not that great at all. I can tell you that first and foremost. He stunk. Never have him back.
Yoakley, is that his
Yorkley,
name?
I think.
Yoakley, yeah.
It's
They said he
silent.
runs some kind of.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. DJ Yoakley with you, and what a great sit down we're about to have. A gentleman who I've known, I feel like forever, since the inception of the company. A guy that has just multiple awards. Guy that has been honored, and his latest honoring will be in May in Boardman as the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, our forever Hall of Famer, a guy that I love sometimes more than life itself, a guy that I'll go to war with, but I'll also go in the foxhole with. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, our general manager here at YSN, Steve Leslie. Steve, congratulations,
Absolutely.
buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's truly a great honor. Honestly, it truly is. I'm honored to be a part of number one, just a great organization. No doubt that we're proud to be supportive too, as we support the Curbstone coaches. But it's an honor, and all the guys that have been put in at Hall of Fame, and I'm excited about the upcoming class that I'm going to go in with. It's a great thing in our area, and it's something I take very, very much pride in for sure.
For you, there's so many people that know you from so many different things. I mean, every time I talk to somebody, they're asking me, hey, Steve Leslie still works there. Well, I know him from X, Y, or Z. I mean, you've done so much. When we were filling out the resume for you to go into the Hall of Fame, dude, it just went on and on and on and on. And you've done so many great things in your life. Talk to me about some of the things you're most proud of athletically that have put you in this position to be a Hall of Famer.
You know what? I think the biggest thing that I take pride in is, number one, how lucky I am to be able to do as many things as I've been able to do, whether as a player, as an athlete, as a student athlete, and then to get into the coaching realm. Obviously, I enjoyed every second of that, and then to get into a media career and be a GM here, which I'm proud of, and be obviously the GM of the Astro Falcons for so many years. I think that's where it starts for me. I've been able to have relationships and have great relationships, and basically it's through sports. A lot of my relationships, I have great friends and a lot of great memories, and that's a tribute not only to myself, but a tribute, me and you talk about this a lot, to how good our area truly is.
Incredible.
In the sports world, whether it be our professional teams, obviously, but from what we do here at YSN, all the great schools and all the great community things that we do. I think that's what I take pride in, the relationships I've built, the way you try to represent and handle yourself and continue to build those relationships.
You mentioned relationships. I know a relationship that means an awful lot to you is the relationship that you had with Bob Ysn.
Yeah.
The Ysn family. When you think about how that was impactful in an early age for you, what was it about that relationship that really helped you out and really took you to the next level? And what did you learn from the Ysns?
I think Bob Ysn Sr. Instilled a confidence in me that I really didn't think I had in myself. I was named the manager of the Astro Falcons at a young age. He had that confidence in me that I can handle running his baseball program. We were able to win some NABS. We were able to win some Connie Max, and obviously get one of three guys to be able to take a team to Farmington, New Mexico with Scotty Knox and the late Mike Goldstone. He instilled a confidence in me, but more important, I had a great mother and father, but he was also that other father figure that I had that looked up to me, that pushed me, that let you know when you were wrong, and continued to want nothing but the best for you, and provided me for who I am today. I say this a lot. Without Bob Ysn, I would not be able to work at the Mahoney County Engineers for now Pat Giannetti for 32 years. He gave me the opportunity for my job and my career to help me build my family, and I'm indebted to their family, no doubt. Bob Ysn Jr. passed away last year. Paul Ysn and Paul Ysn Jr. now are overseeing things. The Ysn family is one of the best in our area, one of the best that represent Youngstown, our area, all our sports, their sponsorships, and obviously the great thing that they have at Bob Ysn Park and the complex that they have and they built and they continue to grow. Without the Ysn family, I don't know if I could do a lot of this.
You told me a story one time about Bob Ysn sitting in the dugout, as he used to do. You go up there and you hit a dinger or something along those lines, and there was some extra compensation for you.
Yeah, there was.
Do the story
Yeah,
top
there
to bottom.
was. It was a Connie Mack World Series. I want to say I was 17 years old, and we had a really good team. And back then, the Connie Mac was legit huge, like 40, 50 teams. We were losing a game. I want to say it was 3-2, and we were in the dugout. And he used to sit in the corner, and he was always into the game, always knowing what was going on. And I walked to go get my bat, and he's like, "What are you gonna do?" I said, "I'm gonna hit one out, and this is gonna be a walk off, and we're gonna win the game." Well, it's easy to say that. Now I want to see you go do it. So fortunately, I was able to hit a ball out at Pemberton Park, which in those days, you remember those days, Pemberton Park was the place to play. It was crowded. It was packed. It was a great environment. And I hit a walk-off, and we were able to move into the next round. And we were going home that day. And everybody that knows Mr. Scene, and he would always, whether you played for him, whether you didn't play for him, would always be that guy that wanted to help you. Here's dinner. Take your buddies to dinner. Do this. So I was leaving, and he asked me to come over a minute, and he shook my hand, and I felt something in my hand. And I'll never forget it. I was walking with Mark Stoops and John Dapolito and Tim Leach, all the guys from Cardamone that he recruited that played. And they asked me, "Well, what is it?" I'm like, "I don't know. Let's get to the parking lot first. I don't want to make a stink here in front of everybody." Well, short story, I got out into the parking lot, and it was $500.
Oh my God.
And he said, he back in those days, it was the old portable phone that you had in a bag. He called and said, "No screwing around. I want you guys to have fun. Go to my house. The pool's open. Order, pizza and drinks and pop and all those things. And, anything. It stays at my house. Nobody's leaving. Nobody's doing any crazy stuff." And I did that. So then it gets to the point, do I buy $100 worth of pizza? Do I pocket 400?
That's it.
And I think
It's like
I think I probably spent 300 and I kept 200, if I'm going to be completely honest. But no, those are the things that I think that that's why I'm proud to be going into a Hall of Fame. I look at guys that are going with me. Kelly Pavlik. Is there anybody better than Kelly Pavlik?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you look at the last year's roster. We talked about it. Pavlik, Dan Yeagley, Cheryl Weaver.
Yes.
Then you look forward. Now you've got Pavlansky.
Coach Pavlansky, Coach Vivo, who I was around when I coached at Ursuline. Obviously, Rob Schmidt, I deal with at Washington. Mr. Morrison, I've been around him a long time. It's a great honor, and I think that it's something that I really cherish and look forward to. Not only the award, it's not an award for myself, but it's an award for everybody that I've kind of circled around here at Ysn, Astro Falcons, Bob Scene Park, Cardamone, Youngstown, Ursuline, been at both of those places. It's just special in all those realms.
It's funny, you alluded to the next question, perfect segue. You've done a lot of hat wearing along the way, whether it be, literal or figuratively. But the two hats that people look at you are two hats that have never been worn in the same realm before by the same person. And that's Youngstown, Ursuline, and Cardamone. Obviously a Cardamone grad. Your kids, though, Ursuline grads.
Yeah.
For you to coach both of those teams, and I think be on a very short list, if not the only person that's ever coached at both places, how challenging was it? And for you, what do you feel you gained from it?
I gained a lot from it. First thing, Cardamone, Don Bucci. I played for Ron Stoops, Roy Nard, Nick Bellino. They taught me how to coach.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Nard, I was 19 years old and I started coaching basketball for him. Coach Bucci, I did some things in football for. Coach Stoops, to play baseball for him and then end up going to be the baseball coach at Cardamone is probably one of the biggest things that I'm proud of. To say that I coached Cardamone baseball, we were able to win two district championships and make it to the regionals. Cardamone is a special place. It always will be a special place. But to go over to Ursuline and meet people that you're rivals with and you butt heads with, and I go back and look at those times, and my Daniel went there and Grace went there, great educations, doing very well. I got to extend my relationships. I go back and Sister Jane at Cardamone, the principal, was phenomenal to me. But I'll never forget at Cardamone, when I said that I was going to be the basketball coach at Ursuline, Cardamone supported me and understood that I was young. I wanted to be a head coach and I was not trying to run Coach Bellino out. It was just something that I thought I would do. And Cardamone supported it, and that'll always be special to me. Then when you get to Urson, Pat Fleming, the principal, phenomenal. You know, and that was right at the time when we lost the baby, and Pat Fleming was that rock that helped Julie and I get through a tough time with our kids and our family, and she supported it. And then Jim Mon, the late AD at Urson, he was always that guy, like a Don Butchie to me, that you can go in and sit and talk sports with. You're talking guys that, like you said, legends, like people that I had conversations with Coach Butchie that I'll never forget, and a lot of them are not even sports related. It's day-to-day life. How do you handle yourself? And you watch what those guys did for so long, and you appreciate that. But yeah, you get to Urson and you get those things, and then the baseball job opens up at Mooney, and I'm at Urson, and man, do I really want to? And I'll never forget Pat Fleming. I went in and sat with her and said, Pat, the Mooney baseball job came up. She's like, well, let's get on it. If that's what your heart's telling you to do, let's make that phone call right now. And she was one of the first ones to reach back out to Mooney to help me get a job. So I think what I've learned, it's one of the best rivalries you'll ever partake in. The best rivals you ever coach in. I remember when I left Urson as the basketball coach, Keith took over. That was 22 years ago.
That's incredible.
And I have a great relationship with him. That's what I'm proud of, that I could call Keith Gunther right now and talk basketball. You look at the success he's had, and it would be easy to say, oh, that could have been. No, things happen for a reason. And the reason was for Keith Gunther to be the head coach at Ursuline. As I go back and look at it now, and he's been fantastic with what he does and how he represents and all he does for us here now at YSN. But yeah, I take pride in both places. I get asked that a lot. I have nothing but great respect for Cardinal Mooney and Ursuline. Two great places and two of the most storied high schools in the state of Ohio, that I'm proud to say that hopefully I was able to help a kid or help a student or help the school kind of get where they went to, and still would do anything for both places as of today.
There's no doubt. I mean, you say, I hope I help. Dude, there's no doubt. Which leads me to my next question. You can walk into a room anywhere. I feel like anywhere in this area, anywhere in the region, you talk to people and you say the name Steve Leslie, you cannot leave that room without someone knowing that name and an impact that you've left. For you, and I know that's all retrospective, but when you're a Hall of Famer, you can start to kind of reflect on this. You say it's all about relationships, but that name, Steve Leslie, is such good favor with so many, and I've never had a bad word uttered about just a conversation with someone about you. Talk to me about why it's so important for you, and especially in the world that we live in now, that you can live your whole life doing the right thing, and then one wrong thing happens, and you are just canceled or X'd out. For you, what does your name and what does your reputation mean to you, and why should these kids and these student athletes nowadays put a little bit more stock into that?
I think it means a lot to me. And I'd say the biggest thing that means to me is the way I was raised by my parents. I give a lot of credit to my father, who passed away years ago. I often think my dad was who I am today. My mom just said that to me, that you're so like your dad. My sister bought me the Guardian Land of Cleveland Christmas gift with podcasts and sports information. That was my dad at a young age. My dad was that guy that had notebooks for Major League Baseball, NCAA basketball, would write scores on a notepad, get up every morning and take the scores from the Vindicator and write those down. But my dad was phenomenal and supported me and was always there for me. But man, my mom was, and still is, she's the go-to. She's the one that kind of keeps you in check, that kind of tells you, and she's not afraid to tell you when you're wrong, when you're not handling yourself, when she thinks you're not doing something that maybe the way you could, or working as hard as maybe you should, or saying things that you should say. When I get something from my mom, or I'll read a note and proud to listen to the broadcast or listen to YSN interviews, when you get it from a family member to say, I'm proud of you, what you did for, and you say this all the time, when you can interview a kid and sit and listen to their story, not a 20-second insert of the big play they had, but to listen to them say their mom's a hero, their dad's a hero. I tried to pride myself to represent my mother, obviously my family. Julie's been a big part of that. My two kids, Daniel and Grace, I try to instill that in them. Jen, who I love dearly today, that tries to keep you in the right direction, because you could say something, you can text something, you could social media something, and it could be nothing but trouble. But for me, the biggest honor is trying to. There's a kid out there. You talk about it, I talk about it. There's a kid, hopefully someday wants to emulate DJ Oakley and YSN and what he's trying to do, or to be a Steve Leslie and be able to do things that I never thought I could do. Honestly, me and you have talked about it, the announcing realm. You know, it was funny. We're at the game the other night. Jim Evans is behind me. I've called games with Jim Evans. I've called games with Chad. Obviously, those guys do a great job, and YSN has kind of brought out the competitiveness. It's so a desire to continue to make sports what it is, and I think that's what I respect YSN for the most, and that's why I'm proud to be a part of it, because yeah, you want to be the best, but also you have to work at it, respect those who have helped you get along, and obviously, man, I couldn't thank those guys enough either.
So when you stepped into the media realm, right? This was kind of new territory for you. We knew you did, some stuff, some play-by-play or some color commentary, game of the week stuff here and there, and then all of a sudden you see this guy come in to a scene press box and start telling you about, hey, I got this idea and I think it's going to work. And I think, people think I'm crazy, but I think in the look on your face, I'll never forget for as long as I live. Like, you legit thought that I was nuts. And it was, I don't know if it was you going home and seeing kind of the way things went, but all of a sudden I get this text message call from you, and you believed in what we were doing at YSN, and all of a sudden you're our general manager, and you've never sat there and said, I want to take money, put it back into the company. Very similar to what we've done, Brian and I, when we started the company. But you've become a media conglomerate on your own, my friend. So every time that we say that Steve Leslie is going to be on a broadcast, you have a draw by yourself. The people want to hear what you have to say. Obviously, you're the voice with Bob Hannon of Penguin Football. You are intimately related with YSU. For you to be one of, if not the media guy, right? When people think about Mount Rushmore of media in this town, your face is up there, my friend. What is that?
I don't know about all that, but I appreciate that. But how did it? It's a good question. I think.
How did it start for you?
I think it just starts as, and you talk to coaches a lot like I do. Everybody wants to be a head coach.
Yeah.
When I get a head job, I'm gonna do. Folks, it's not easy as you say that. It's not as easy as it is. And I'll use Dave Rock. Mm-hmm. I'll use Keith Gunter. I'll use Dan Yeagley. I'll use. Yes, there's success, but there's also a lot of things that coaches do that are not noticed.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes things. So I knew, as the kids got older and it gets harder to put in that time. That's why when you see these young coaches with kids, and I respect when they say it's a lot of time away from my family, because it is. So I got to that point, and the media stuff kind of started. And, YSU, I love the place. I do. I would do anything for Ron Strollo. I would do anything for Trevor, Dre, Rob, that crew. The opportunity that they gave me through, obviously being a part of this at YSN, that's been a big part. But media, to be involved in it, you have a voice.
Yeah.
I think is the biggest thing for me, to have a voice on promotion, have a voice on, I think what we see, what I see, what you see, who's ever calling a game, what you're calling, what you're feeling, all those things I think are huge. And I go back to you coming in, and I'll never forget that, in the press box. I had met you. Folks, I thought I thought you were really nuts.
Yeah.
But when I went home and thought about it,
I was, by the way. I was.
Yeah,
nuts. Still
and still are. But when you go back and think about it, and The Vindicator's fantastic. The Warren Tribb's fantastic. All the I don't want to, but you want more.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you struck me with. There is more out there to get to. There are more schools. There are more communities. There are more little leagues. There are more, you name it, we have done it. I respect that. I do. And now I'm to the point, this is what, year 8?
Mm-hmm.
We need more.
Yeah.
And I think this is a chance for me to use my voice as the general manager. People, it's a different world. It's costly. There's cost. There's expenses at everything. There's workers that we have. There's things that we do. There's more money that we want to give to schools. There's more money that we want to give to announcers. But we need our community. I think that I'd like to do a good job here to promote us as a group. Chris Sigler's another general manager. He's phenomenal. The sponsorships you cannot beat. The sponsorships are worth it. The sponsorships get your name out there with millions of views. You talk about it all the time. But the great sponsors that we have, there's so much room for more and growth. I think that for me is kind of my drive right now. I want to see this thing explode. And I want to see success for you, success for Brian, success for family, success for all of our announcers. Richie Giuliano, I just saw him last week. Fantastic, his story. Anthony Romo's been with those guys. I want to be able to provide platforms for kids that kind of like what Steve Leslie and DJ Yoakley do and kind of want to take that path into their future. And also, now that you have a great family, be able to have a family, raise a family, be a Youngstown guy, live in Youngstown, have a job, and have it be sports related. Because I do. I think it's out there. I think of all of our great sponsors that we have, and I don't want to start naming them because there's so many good ones. But without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. But without more, your vision's still not to the ceiling yet. If that's fair to say.
It's fair. It's fair. I mean, there's so much more we can do, I feel.
I think there's so much more, and that's kind of the things, some exciting things that you and I have talked about that hopefully we can get out here soon to people. But, to film a game, to get into a game, to cover a game, to call a game, to drive to the game, those are all expenses that in everything we do every day get hard to do. And as a GM, I get that. I want to see everybody succeed financially as well as you do. But, man, our sponsors, I try to get to every place. Like, I look at those shows. I know Gia's, Frank, and fantastic. Yeah. Tigers Table, fantastic. Dan Dahl, fantastic. The Avalon,
Up and Down.
the Golden Dawn, all those places have a trust in us and have a trust kind of in myself as a voice. And we're not perfect. We're not. There's glitches. There's mistakes. There's.
We live in that world.
I think I do. I want this more. I think now, and I've said it, and I've stepped away from the Class B. I've stepped away from being the GM. I've stepped away from the park. Does it hurt? Yeah, it does. But that place is in great shape. Scott Rourke, Bob Beam, two of my best friends, the Ysn family. Mm-hmm. I didn't do it because I don't love it. I did it because the time commitment that it started to take.
You watched it grow, and now you can pass it on.
I just want to sit back, and that's kind of was the main reason. Spend some time with Jen, do some things with my kids, do more here with us, and that's the next drive that I have. I just want to see this. Everybody, well, you guys should do this, and you guys should do that. And me and you butt heads, I'm not going to sit here on.
No, we do.
Yeah, we should do more. Yeah, we want to do more, but to do more, it takes more from not anybody in our realm, or it takes community support. And I say that with the utmost confidence, and I say that for all the schools that we have. We'd love to cover every game you have, but when you have to do an announcer schedule and you're stuck on a budget that you're on, those things become tough to do. And Yeah, you're disappointed that maybe YSN isn't there one night. We get that. But, man, I think for me, the best way for us to grow, and I hope kids listen, is high school kids that don't play. You don't have to play sports to be an announcer.
Nope.
Be a part of your school. Be a voice.
Pride.
Be that. We've had grade school kids do it. We've had Hubbard kids that have been fantastic. We've had Richie Giuliano Canfield that was phenomenal. There's
baseball.
a lot more out there.
Yeah.
And I think that's where YSN grows, when DJ can incorporate this school. This is your voice. These are your 3 students that we're putting it in your hands. We're going to support you. We're going to give you everything you need, but be the voice for your community.
You said something that kind of hit home and kind of leads into the final question here today. And thank you for the time, by the way. You said that to do more, it takes more. And the people at the top of the pyramid, wherever you may be in your journey, guys like you that have been leaders of men and boys and girls and you name it, it always takes a little bit more. And where do you find that strength to dig down deep? I know you're huge in relationships. We've addressed that already. But, when you need strength, when you need something, what do? For me, it's motivational quotes. It's talking to my wife. It's talking to my kids. For you, what is it that's going to get you through that season? It's going to get you through that moment, get you through the storm.
I tell you, the biggest thing I do right now is renew my faith. I think that's everybody falls. You fall away from it. Your religion's there. Your belief in God is there. I now belong to St. Columba Cathedral, which I've been there about 2 months now, and I take great pride in that. You lose sight of what's important. God, without God in your life, without being thankful for those things, without just that weekly thing. Jen and I have gone now for, probably 8 straight weeks to go to church for an hour and kneel down and just say thank you for today. Thank you for the week. Watch over all of us for a week is I've lost track of that. I'll be the first one to admit it. I'm not proud to say that. I've went to Catholic schools my whole life. I've been part of parishes at St. Christine's and things, and I kind of lost track of it. And that was one of the things when I stepped away from the baseball realm of it that I've kind of gone back to saying, I need this aspect of this hour in my life or this time in our faith to provide, to give. I went Sunday with Jenna, I went to Mass and I heard Father talk about the giving tree. There are people out there that are going to spend Christmas without a gift, without a family. I talked to you about that time. Your journey with Sarah is one of the best. I told you that when times were tough and it was looking down and out and it's not going to be easy. Z's not going to be easy. You seeing that every day now. But to go to a tree and make a $25 contribution here this next week, a gift card, knowing that it's going to go to, somebody that doesn't have those things is what I'm thankful for. Yeah, I want to do so many things, but if you're not willing to give up the sacrifices and reinvest your time back in your religion and your faith, no matter which religion or faith that is, then I think that you're doing yourself a disservice.
All right, I lied. Last question. Being that it is the Christmas season now, officially, with Thanksgiving over.
Boy, you got a busy Christmas here. I've seen some of the pictures of the Yoakley household on Christmas. Cherish those days for everything you can, because Grace sent her list, and I'm going to be honest, there's half of the stuff on the list, DJ, I've never heard of or probably never will hear of. But, yeah, go ahead. Christmas time is special.
What's on your Christmas list this year?
Boy, that's a good question. I think...
That's why I asked it.
A lot of things. I think my Christmas list is I want to be thankful. I don't think I'm as thankful as I should be for all I have. I think that's the biggest thing when I go back and look. It's not a gift I want. It's none of those things.
Nothing?
No, not really. Jen and I are going to Notre Dame January 4th for an ND basketball game against North Carolina. So that's kind of our Christmas gift to one another. I just want to spend it with my family. I'm proud of who Grace is. She's a sophomore at YSU, special education. It's some of
First
the
year
things.
with Daniel as a married man.
Daniel got married in September, and my beautiful daughter-in-law Savannah, they're starting to do their things. Daniel's in law school. Sav's finishing up being a nurse practitioner, so very busy. So I want to kind of cherish those times and with Jen and her family, and obviously, I always go back to Julie Kopp, and I have a great relationship to her. And my mother-in-law passed away, so it's a tough holiday for Brian and Julie and Dan and that family. But you asked what I'm thankful for. I think that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for my family, and I extend that to the Kopp family, because even though our marriage is separated, we've become very close knit, and that's something that myself and Julie take great pride in. That there's Jen, there's Richard, who's Julie Dayton. Those are family members to us, and I think that I've finally realized that at 57 now, that the circle you have and the people that you surround yourself with are the most important. So I'm looking forward to a Christmas with all of them.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Steve, the newest member of the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame, coming this May. Cannot wait to watch that happen. To hear what you. I mean, we always hear what you have to say. I always hear what you have to say, but it's always a joy. But I can't wait for everybody else to hear it as well.
I appreciate that. Like I said, it's an honor not only for myself, my family. It's an honor for all of us at YSN. I'm lucky to be a part of this, but there's so many great people at YSN here. There's going to be many more to follow my footsteps.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Leslie. Thanks, Steve. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is another episode of Catching the Curb right here on YSN, brought to you by the Curbstone Coaches. DJ Yoakley with you. And we're going to bring in Tom Miller because we have some great news coming out of the Curbstone Coaches. It is that time of year. It is Hall of Fame time where the inductees are released. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Tom Miller once again. Third month in a row, Tom. I'm starting to think I'll have to put you on payroll, my friend.
Well, I was ready to do the hat trick, so I wanted to get it in. That's why I'm here. But
You guys are known for your, obviously, the banquet, the Hall of Fame, when it comes to that. And you, my friend, are the creme de la creme when it comes to the guy in charge. So you have some announcements you'd like to make here on Catching the Curb?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, the selection committee got together, and 12 of us sat down to do the class of 2025. And it was a good time. We picked it. I think it's funny that as I've been communicating with these inductees, including guys like that, Steve Leslie,
Just milling around.
this class is just so appreciative and so. It's really a different one. One we'll get to is like Mike Pavlansky. I saw him yesterday at Curbstone for our luncheon. He was there. And I tell you what, he could not stop saying thank you. And he just one of those guys. But I would like to give you the list of 12
Go for it.
and who they are. John Butera, he's getting in for sports media.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Kangemi, football, out of Boardman. We got one of our boxing ones that haven't been in yet, Roland Cummings, also known as the Irish Express in Atlantic City. Roland was those fighters. His weight, he could fight 5 different weight classes. He could either go up or go down.
Oh, jeez.
He was called Mr. ESPN because when ESPN needed a fighter, they would call Roland. He knows I think it's a four and a half hour drive to Atlantic City, and they would tell him, come in at this weight. And like I said, he had five different weight classes he could fight. But
That's incredible.
But and he's ready for boxing. He's a good guy.
Youngstown guy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, definitely. Tim Gleason is next. Contribution to sports. A legend in itself is Brian Gorby, track and field cross country from Youngstown State.
No doubt.
I mean, he has probably more trophies and plaques than anybody at YSU. Just a truly and very. I talked to him too. Just a very, very nice guy. Bob Jenkins getting in for track and field. This next guy, Steve Leslie, kind of on the bubble there.
Who?
Nah. That was easy. That was a 12-0 pick right there. He was good. Doug Kaburski, bowling. He's the bowling coach at Youngstown State University. He's been doing a heck of a good job. We got him in. His sponsor is Patty Stooley. She's with the Curbstone Coaches. Mm-hmm. Another guy for Curbstone or coach contribution to sports is James Morrison. James is up there in age. I think he's in his younger 80s, I think.
Really?
And he still works at YSU.
Wow.
Yeah, and he does a lot for the athletes up there, so we got him in for contribution to sports. Mike Pavlansky, who I just told you, a very overappreciated guy. He really is thankful for what we're doing for him. Another YSU guy, Rob Schmidt, sports media. I'm sure you know him well.
Well, very well.
And another guy, I mean, he was at a tournament, a basketball tournament down in Texas, and I called and left a message there for congratulations. And he called me back. He said, I'm so sorry I didn't get to you. I really appreciate what you're doing for me. Another guy, very appreciative. And rounding out our 12th inductee is Jim Vivo for football.
That's a name everybody knows, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one to get in there, yeah.
I mean, so I know last year you kind of looked at the field of 12 and you said, this is an incredible induction class. And then you go and top it, I feel. I mean, this is equal to, if not better. I mean, again, I think that the media has a big say in this one from a standpoint of getting some of the guys, Steve Leslie, of course, Rob Schmidt, John Butera, three of the top media personalities for so long here in this area.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at this, what stands out to you?
Media legends. I mean, they're just wonderful people. I can't say enough. I sent out a package to everybody, and I put in there a return envelope. And the letter says, I will make the Hall of Fame ceremony. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to get them back already.
That's incredible. Last
year was 2, 3, 4 weeks later. Now I'm getting them. And I got my photographer, Tim Hickman. He's waiting for them to take some pictures. Yeah, so we're working on that.
And what's beautiful about all of this is the excitement that continues to build around Curbstone coaches and the honor that it is to be inducted into the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame. For you, I mean, that's got to be a great call to make. I mean, I remember the big fella at the NFL Hall of Fame that I think is he still with us? He might have passed on. But he always had that great knock and letting people know that they're part of the Hall of Fame. How emotional do people get with you and excited?
Oh, they do. They really do. I mean, I've had guys crying. It was just something to them. I mean, when they get their family in there and Mr. Anthony's May 4th, 2025. I mean, some of them they really get emotional, but they just love it. I give them a nice plaque. I think you might have seen the Hall of Fame plaque. I give them that. I've been communicating with them all right now. Like I said, and stuff's coming back, so we're looking really. I'm ahead of schedule right now. I am sending out a mailing to these guys on January 15th.
Yeah.
And I get the letters all done already.
You're ready to go.
Yeah, they're all done. And so I was waiting for our ad forms, ticket forms, and flyer, and it'll all go in one big package to them.
For those who want to attend, it feels like it's a while away, but it'll be here before we know it, the banquet in May, how do people get involved? How do they buy tables? How do they sponsor, the program? How do they do that?
Tickets will go on sale February 1st. Every article you read about Curbstone Coaches, about the banquet, for more information, call 330-506-6774. That's my cell phone. 12 and under are free. The ticket itself is $60. That's still a good deal. And like I said, my name will be on, or my number's on there. Call me. I'll take care of you.
Tom, thank you so much for stopping in. We appreciate you. Please come back in January. We could talk about this a little bit more at length.
You know what? One day we got to talk boxing. When you have nothing to talk about, we'll
January.
talk boxing.
Let's go. January. Please come back.
We can do it.
You got it. Tom Miller, ladies and gentlemen.
You.
Ysn thanks you for watching this presentation of your